Hello and welcome to Demo 3. Today we're going to talk about um, animation and conditional statements which are required to animate. We'll talk about Booleans, and if we get around to it, we can talk about using noise instead of using randomness. So let's get started with our web editor, our reference, and our color picker selected. Here you just need to be logged in. We'll retitle to Demo 3 Animate dash animate. I'm just putting animate 1-2 because I already made an animate one. So here, let's make our canvas size a little bit bigger and change the background color to, I want to do like a light peach. It's going to be dark blue because we need to remember to change our color mode to HSB, which we've done before, so hopefully we all understand that. I'm just spacing things out the way I like. And we've got a light peach color. So to start our animation, we'll just do something really simple like a circle. We'll put it in the center for right now so we can just see what it looks like. And then I want a no fill, so I'm going to use the no fill p5 function to just have like that line. Cool. So now what we want to do is we just want to make the circle move forward on the x-axis. So we need to, in order to do that, we want this number to change. So we're going to make a variable called x. So you'll type in the keyword let x, and we'll just do equals 0 for right now. And down here in the x location of our circle, we'll just put in our variable here, and so it will shift over to the 0. Now we want this this number here to increment in a positive way, so like adding 1 to 0. So down here in the draw function, where it's happening over and over in a loop, we can put x equals x plus 1. And so now every time that code is drawn or read, it will increase 0 by 1. So it'll increase 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and so on. And so when we press play, we see that it moves forward. And we can make it go faster by, doing +5. We can also make it go in the opposite direction by doing a minus sign. And you see it sort of exits the building to the left. And we can go slower by doing putting in an integer here. So it'll go like really, really slow. So you can manipulate it that way. But for now, we'll just put 2. And the first problem that arises when we do this is it just exits and continues moving to the right forever and ever. So what do we want to do here? I would like to, whenever the circle's x location hits width, so the size of the canvas width, I want it to go in the opposite direction. So we need to use an if statement here. And that's written like, well, we did this the other day in class, but if open close parentheses, open close bracket. And inside of the parentheses, this is going to be if x is equal to width, whatever we wanted to do will go inside of the brackets. So if x is equal to width, equals width, which is written with 2 equal signs, then we want x equals x minus 2. And we'll see how that works. So it just stops here at the width, and the reason being is this equals sign it's unsure, it maybe never got there or whatever. So instead of doing equals, we'll do if x is greater than or equal to width, because that gives it a little bit more room to be like to read it better. So if it's greater than or equal to width now, then go in the opposite direction. And here it's still put in place. So the reason this is because this 2 is a constant, and we need it to change so much that we need to come up to the top and create another variable. So we'll create a speed variable. So we'll let c speed equal 2 for right now. So now we're playing with the location and we're playing with the speed. So down here, instead of 2, let's put c speed. And instead of x minus 2, we'll put c speed, circle speed, equals negative circle speed, because we just need the number to stay the same, but like turn into the negative of itself, if that makes sense. So we don't need it to decrease, we need it to be the negative of itself. So now it hits the width and it goes backwards. Okay, so now it's exiting the page to the left. So a little bit of stuff here. Instead of going and putting something like, usually an if statement there's like an if else statement that you could do. You could do else and open close bracket. So, you know, you would think that you could put like, if x is greater than or equal to width, then make the speed negative, else make the c speed equal c speed, the positive of itself. But we will see here that this doesn't do exactly what we want it to do. And the way to remedy this is we don't have to go in and we don't have to put this else statement yet. But up here in the parameters of the if statement, there's a couple of signs that we could put in here. So one is the I'm just going to put a comment. So we could use and maybe. So if x is greater than or equal to width, and x is let's say less than 0, then c speed equals negative c speed. So we'll see that this doesn't necessarily work because and is used for both of them happening at the same time. And we don't, in this case, don't want them happening at the same time. But we can use the these double straight lines. So and means both parameters occur at the same time. And then the two straight lines, parallel lines, means or. So this will now mean if x is greater than or equal to width, or, so it doesn't necessarily have to happen at the same time, or x is less than 0, so if x goes into the negatives over here, then c speed will switch to the opposite of c speed. So here we are starting at 0, it goes to width, it bounces back around, and once it gets less than 0, it bounces back around. So it's going to be constantly bouncing left and right and left and right. Okay? So one problem here that we can see is that it's calculating it hitting at the center of the circle. So we need to remedy this by, there's a couple different ways we can do this. So I'll just show you what I mean real quick by so we want it to start reversing at its radius. So right here, not in the middle. So half of the circle is 50. So if x is greater than or equal to width minus 50, we can see here that it should bounce back right at the edge. So let's go ahead and make a variable up top called r. So let r equal, so radius equal 50. So circle radius. And then in the circle size, we'll just do r times 2 because we want it to still be 100. We'll put here minus r, and then right here for x, we'll just put r. So if x is less than r, then change direction. Uh-oh, what did we do wrong here? Minus r. Okay, so we started it at 0, and I think we need to go ahead and change its x location to 50. Let's see if that works. So comes back, 50, boom. Cool. So this is how we create an animation that is bouncing left to right. And now say we want this all to happen also on the y-axis. So let's do a very similar thing, but we'll just create a variable of y. So let y and equal 50. And we'll do let y speed equal to, and we'll change c speed to x speed. So down here, C speed, we'll change to X speed. X. And you could also go in and use the replace up here in the edit. So let's save that real quick. And we'll change height divided by 2 to y. And basically just copy what we did with the x and the x speed. So y equals y plus y speed. So another way of writing this line, if you want to just be quicker, instead of y equals y plus, the same thing here is y plus equals y speed. And so instead of x equals x plus, which is like kind of redundant, we do x plus equals x speed. And that just makes it a little bit faster. And so here, let's just command copy or control copy, paste, and we'll change x to y. We'll change width to height. X to y here. Y speed, negative y speed. So it's just flipping, instead of working with those constant numbers and like fudging things up. So here we can see when it hits the height, so it's bouncing off on all the edges now. And that's pretty cool and pretty fun. And one more thing that I want to show off here is just if we put our background and copy, paste, and I'll just comment it out down here. Then we can see some of the drawing that it's creating. Yeah. Pretty beautiful. It's a cool looking pattern. So you can do it to where, oh wow, I really love the way that's looking. You can sort of decide what you want to change. Like you could change the color, you could change the size, you could create a variable of size. So every time the circle hits width, it increases in size, or maybe every time the circle hits, it changes color. So yeah, think about all of the options there. I really love this pattern that it's creating. It's like a weaving. For those of you who like to knit, maybe you can play with that in future projects. So yeah, so let's move on to, so we've got our bouncing ball. Here. And instead of, let's see, let's create, let's comment this out real quick. And down here, we'll do, if, let's copy this one. And I'm going to get rid of this so we can see things better. So we're going to have to change y back to height divided by 2, and then cool. So here we're back to having this circle move on the x-axis. Whenever it's the width, it goes to the left. and then right. But if instead when it hits the width, we don't want to bounce, but we would rather it just start at the beginning, like if you wanted to make like a GIF or like a loop animation, we'll just do if x is greater or equal to width minus radius, then, yeah. So if x is greater than or equal to width divided by r, then x equals 0. So we want it to start back at the beginning. Or you could put x equals 50, and it'll start back where it began. So it hits width, and it starts over here. Boom. If you want it to like exit and enter, let's get rid of the minus r. Switch it back to maybe negative 50. So it'll exit completely and enter. There we go. Now if we want a little bit of delay, we can just put a negative 100 or negative, maybe let's do 200. So we're pushing back the place in which it's starting. Yeah. Greater than or equal to width. And we can put here, because it's kind of stopping before I want it to, maybe width plus 100. So here it will go to width plus 100. And there we go. And now it starts. Boom. So you've got something that looks like it's just exiting and entering. So you've created a loop there. And that's a little bit more simple than making it bounce and change direction and stuff like that. So let's save that and also add a comment. And so what it does, so creating a loop. And then here we can just put bouncing off edges, just so we know. And if we want both to happen at the same time, I'll uncomment that and press play. Now we've got both of them going. Oh no! Oh, okay. So it's not looping, it's still bouncing because of the x. So we could just make, we could change it to like, make another one x1. So let x1 equal 50. And change this to x1, and our second circle, we'll change to x1. And of course, now we have to go in and create the speed. So let's move all of that down here. So let x1 speed equal 2. And here I'll just copy, paste. X1 speed. So now the speed, there we go. It's exiting the building and it's entering. Cool. So they're just working with different variables, these two different circles. And we can, you know, change the size to give us, you know, more variation. We could also do let's see, we could draw a third shape and we could draw it in the middle. So let's do a square this time. So square. Width divided by 2, height divided by 2 in the center, and start it at 100. And it's going to use this no fill parameter still. And of course we need to do rect mode center. Cool. So say we want it to grow and expand. We'll change the size. So all we have to do here is just do so for the square. We'll do let square size or square s equal, we want to start it at 100. Let square s equal 100. And we'll change the size of square to square s. And nothing will change. And then down here, we'll just put square s plus equals 1. And it should grow now. So there you have it. Just a lot of different variables to change or to create, but that is how we're going to animate things. And of course, if we wanted our square to, so if square s is greater than or equal to either width or height, doesn't matter. I'm just going to put it width. Then we would just like to start its location back. So square s equals 100, just back to the beginning. So if it reaches width, then it goes back to 100. There we are. Very cool. Now let's just quickly go over a couple of things. We're going to animate text and we're going to animate color again, just so we can get used to doing that. And we're going to create variables of like random colors. So let's start by creating a function like we did last class called target. Oh, and we should capitalize our, actually no, we can just do target. So the parameters for target will do x, y, and s as in size. Open close bracket. And then now we of course have to come up to the top and create global variables of let x, and instead of doing let y, let s, we could just do let x, comma, y, comma, s. I believe this is allowed in p5. It definitely isn't processing. So down here, we could do, we'll create our target, so using circles. And we can use X, Y, and S. The S, say we want the second circle to be like a little bit smaller, we'll just multiply the size by 0.9. Then the second one will multiply by 0.7. And then let's come up in our draw function and see what that circle, or see what that target looks like. So of course we have to put, let's place it in the middle. So width divided by 2, height divided by 2, size, let's just say 100. Cool, so we've got a kind of a target. Maybe we want one more circle in our target and make it a bit smaller. Cool, it's a little bit more of a target. So let me just do tidy code, make it look a little bit nicer. Awesome. So we've created a function called target, and we want to fill each circle with a different color, but we want it to be a random color. So let's come up here and create a variable of let see. How many colors do we want? So we've got 4 circles. Let's do 2 different colors. So we'll do C and C1. And in our, here, I want to make this a bit bigger. So 800 by 600. And I want the target to be a little bit bigger, so I'll change its size. Cool. So we're creating 2 color variables. And here in the setup, we can define what they are. So in order to do this, we'll do C equals color, the color function, which we can always go into the reference and look up. And it'll tell us, you know, exactly what it is. So yeah, you can look at that. Let's change our color mode to get used to it. Color mode HSB, otherwise it will be doing RGB. And so color 1 will make, let's say we want it to be a random value between 0 and 200 for the hue. And for the saturation, let's do a random between anywhere from 0 to 100, so like the full range. And for the brightness, let's keep it at 100. And you can like play around with these numbers and tweak them however you want, but that's what we're gonna do for the first color. Now C1 will just copy all of that, paste it, and let's do a range with a hue from 200 to 360. And let's do saturation, never fully saturated, so 0 to 50. And maybe let's randomize its brightness as well. So random brightness from 20 to 100 because I don't want it to be totally black. Cool. So now we can come down in our target and let's make the first circle, let's fill with C. And the second circle, fill with C1. And I believe that should do it. Yeah. And then the third will fill, we have to go back to C. And the last one will fill with C1. So that they're changing, like every other one is changing color. And I just want to space these guys out a little bit. Cool. So now because all this random action is happening in the setup function, every time you press play, it generates a new target, which is pretty fun. And then of course, if we come in and we put all of this in the draw function, it'll change and be pretty crazy. Okay, it's spazzing out because we've got the random here. So let's just put that back into the setup function. Play, because that was gonna bother me. Cool. Okay. Phew. Okay, so now let's see if we could do C plus C equals C plus 1 or C plus equals 1. To 0. Ta-da! But then, in order to keep it cycling, we have to do C equals C modulo 360. Okay. So the issue here, so it's cycling from black to white. And the reason is because with C down here in the fill for the target, we have to do 100, 100 for saturation and brightness. And I think this, yes. Okay, so now it's gonna cycle through all the rainbow colors, and then this is just gonna be black and white unless we go ahead and include saturation and brightness to the fill. Cool. So every time we press play, one of the colors changes and we still have the cycling rainbow. And then we could bring the C1 down here, and if we want it to like constantly shift and go wild. Cool, so like y'all can play with that a little bit, but for now let's move on to creating a text variable. So we'll do let my word equal, and then you put the quotations and whatever word you want to put. So just any word, it doesn't matter. Bug. Put that semicolon behind it. So let my word equal bug. So down here, when we come and we draw, we want to like draw a word, we'll put text. And my word, width divided by 2, height divided by 2. And with text, we have to do text align. So we want it to align in the center. So this is the same thing that we did with rect mode. Oops. So text align center. And we have to do text size and choose a size. So I'm going to put 50 for right now. Text size, text, ooh, make sure we don't misspell align. Text align, text size, and text. Ooh. And we have to put for the Y at center, so the X and the Y needs to be centered. So we just couldn't see the bug because we were placing it in the center and it was being covered by the target. So let's put it underneath the target. Classic mistake. And let's change this back to being in the center. So width divided by 2. Height divided by 2. Cool. So I've got a bug in the middle of my target. And of course you saw that I could move it around with the mouse X, mouse Y. Last sketch that I want to draw for this demo 3 lesson, so we can understand what a Boolean is and get more involved with the if-then statements, is we're going to create a landscape. So let's make our canvas a bit bigger again, however you'd like. And change the color mode to HSB. Just gonna do everything from scratch. We will come over here and move our background to the setup function because we want it. Well, actually, let's keep it in the draw function for right now. So let's start with our sky color. So we want our sky color to be like maybe, I sort of want it to be like a light blue. Perfect. And let's create our ground. And we'll title it ground. And we will just create a rectangle from to height divided by 2. And then size will be the total width. Width divided by 2 at its height, and we'll do the size at height divided by 2. So yeah, that's about where I want it. And then I want to do a no stroke and fill it with a dirt color. So color picker time, we'll go sort of like a there we go, maybe less. Boom. Cool. So let's draw on top of the sky. We'll put a cloud. And we'll do ellipse. And we'll do at the x location of 0, or actually let's put it at the x location of maybe negative 100. Or we'll just put x location 0, y location 200. Its width will be 200, height 100, so a little bit longer. And let's fill that with a, I'm going to do like a light orange color. And the no stroke is still applied here. So I want to just go back to what we learned earlier, and I want to loop my cloud. So I'm going to come up at the top and create a variable called cloud_x. Oh, let cloud_x equal 0, and cloud_s for cloud speed equal 2. And then in the x for our ellipse, we'll just put cloud_x and cloud_x plus equals cloud equals cloud_x plus 1, or cloud plus equals cloud speed. So cloud_x equals cloud_x plus cloud speed. So that's going to move it. And we'll just go back to what we learned before. So if cloud_x is greater than or equal to width, then we'll just do cloud_x negative 200. And let's put its starting point at negative 200, right? Because it's 100, so that'll be good. And so it enters, and width plus half of it would be 50, so we'll just do plus 100. So just reiterating what we did previously. So we want our cloud to loop. So there we go. We've got a looping cloud, and I want it to move a little slower, so I'll come up and I'll change my cloud speed a little bit. Cool. So now let's go ahead and let's create a tree. Then I will draw an ellipse. at 45 to 75, and I want it to be starting at 100. And I will put a no stroke is already applied, so I'll just change the fill to a green color. Kind of like that. Alrighty. Oh. Cool. There we are. And then I want to do, for my tree, I'll add a stroke to be its trunk. So stroke. And let's see. Or I'll add a line. And so if we start the line at width divided by 2 to height. And the second one will be width divided by 2 to height. So 0.1, 0.2. Hooray! So we've got our tree, we've got our cloud, and we have our cloud looping, and now say we want our tree trunk to grow. So we're gonna have to like come up at the top and create a few variables first. So we'll create a treetop variable, so treetop equals 0, and tree growth variable, so tree growth equals 0. And then we're going to want our trunk size to change too as it grows. So the tree top will grow, the tree growth will go upward, and then the trunk size, so let trunk size equal 1, because we want it to exist in the beginning. In the beginning, there was a trunk size, and it was 1. Cool. So now that we've got all 3 variables, we can come down to our tree. And for stroke weight, we'll put trunk size. And for the line height, we will put tree top, because we want it to be wherever the tree top is. And then for our ellipse here, we'll just put it'll stay in the center, but the y is going to change, so the y will be tree top. And then the tree growth is the size that the top will change, so tree growth. All right. So we've got our chunk size, we've got our tree top, we've got our tree growth. So if tree top is less than 100, tree top being the size that we want it to grow. So actually, let's make it if it's less than 200. Then do nothing. else tree top plus equals actually, if treetop is less than 200, do nothing. So else we want it to grow by 1. If the treetop is height divided by 2, so okay. So we had to declare that our tree top would start at 451, so like around here. Yeah, and then for our line, it starts at width divided by 2, 451 in height, and it grows with the treetop. And here, our ellipse is going to be at the width divided by 2, but go upward with the treetop, and then it will grow until it gets to 100 in diameter. But if we want it to grow, so if the treetop is less than 50, do nothing else. Don't understand. Why can't we put this here? Treetop is... Do nothing. If the treetop, which starts at 451, yeah, so the treetop has to go. So we have to put a negative 0.5 because if the treetop wants to go up, it has to be a negative number there. The tree growth is going at a rate of 0.4, and the trunk size is increasing to 0.5. So I'll try to explain this better in class, but basically that's how you make the tree grow. If we want the tree to regrow every time we do the mouse clicked, we have to come down here and instead of mouse pressed, we'll just do function. Another function is called mouse clicked. Oops. Open and close squiggly bracket. if mouse is clicked, then just redraw the variables to their original. So height divided by 2, tree growth was at 0, and tree height was at 1 if mouse clicked. Ta-da! Okay, that's about right. So next, last and final thing that we're going to do with this sketch for right now is build a sun. So underneath, actually we want it to be covered by the ground. So let's put it right above ground. Actually, and we want it to be covered by the tree and the cloud. So we'll put the sun at the top in front of the background. So cool. Let's just draw an ellipse and we'll put it at mouse X, mouse Y, and its size will be 50. And no stroke for that. Fill with a lightish yellow. And we've got our little sun. I want it to be a little bit bigger. So 150. Big sun. Cool. Okay, maybe a little smaller. 100. Perfect. What we're going to do is we're going to create 2 Booleans at the top, and we'll say is it sunny equals true. Ooh. And the keyword true here, that's a Boolean. So true could be 0 and false could be 1, or we could do true and false. So is it sunny equals true, and then is it night equal false. So here we're gonna create like a light switch almost. Is it sunny? On. Is it night? Off. And then down here in the draw function, we can go if is it sunny is equal to true, then make our backgrounds this same background that we already have. Okay. Else, make our background a dark blue. Okay. So we are drawing sun and changing sky here. So, okay, so if is it sunny equals true, then have the background light blue. If is it sunny equals false, have the background dark blue. And now here, if we'll put another if statement, and we'll do, since the sun is being tracked by our mouse, so if mouse y is greater than the height of where our ground is at. So if it's greater than, we'll put 450. Then change is it sunny to false. Boom. So now whenever we move our mouse down to below the ground, it changes to a dark blue, but we want it to go back to the way it was, so we'll just put else. Else is it sunny equals true. So we're just flipping a switch. So once it hits greater than 450 on the y-axis, it's dark blue, and now it's light blue. And so that's just like a brief intro to what a Boolean is, a little switch that you can flick. So I'm gonna stop there because we've covered quite a bit already, but I'm looking forward to continuing the lessons next week and looking at y'all's self-portrait. So happy coding.